for the summer people, because we're so far in the country.
You are, yeah. And let's face it, once the fudgy traffic dries up, there's not a lot going on up there until, unless you're a skier, and even then it's mostly locals. Daniel is asking, he's referring back to the one-offs. He says, how about a capsicum sour one-off?
Wow, that's awesome.
That could be really interesting.
I want to experiment with that, because I have had some good ones judging at competitions as I do it at the Mazer Cup. It's a great way to really get exposed to the creative ideas other people have.
It really is, yeah.
And and there's been some good ones out there, really nicely balanced. I'm going to take that into consideration and try it out. Something that's like just a little warmth in your throat. Yeah.
Do something, I'm a big fan of the Chipotle meads, because it's that mild heat it's nice and well-rounded, as opposed to the sort of in-your-face that you get with the bigger peppers, like the jalapenos on up pretty much. You get a much sharper edge.
Chipotle?
Yeah, Chipotle is basically smoked jalapenos, but when you smoke it, it rounds off all those sharp, hot edges, and it's a gentle heat. It's a really mellow sort of heat. Honestly, I think it would pair really well with a Tupelo. You get that super sweet, really flavorful Tupelo, along with this sort of mellow heat in the background. There's a lot you can do with Chipotle. Take a look at Brad's got a couple. He's got Cherry Chipotle is one of his top sellers.
Yeah, I have to try that.
Yeah.
And we'll have to pick out the right cherry.
Yeah. You could do that. An apple Chipotle would be divine, honestly.
Ooh.
Yeah. You do a Chipotle Cider. Oh, my God. A Chipotle Cider would be like all that and a bag of chips. And nobody's done it yet that I'm aware of.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Apple is an awesome blending fruit with other fruits.
Oh yeah.
It's in a lot of the fruit juices you buy. They use some apple as a blender. Mm-hmm. It rounds out other fruits, and sometimes without dominating, and it just smooths out the whole beverage.
Well, and think about,
I
don't know how old you were grown when you moved to northern Michigan, but you've had baked apples, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so think smoked baked apples with just a touch of heat.
I hate you, Vicky.
I am evil like the fruits of the devil.
Well, I'm going to try that one.
And if you do, and people like it, I get a 6-pack. Just saying. If it's canned, or if it's shorty bottles. Otherwise, I get a bottle.
I have to find a way to get the flavors with, just.
Well,
I've never used them, so it's
go
probably
get some.
not
Okay. Is there a market around there, a grocery around there somewhere that has a good Hispanic section?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Come on. We've still got a lot of migrant workers coming up there. At least they did when I was growing up. But find some place that's got a good fresh produce Hispanic section. Get you some fresh Chipotles, not dry. Well, dried would be okay. I'd try it both ways, honestly, to see which one you're going to get the better flavor from. But just try messing with Chipotle extractions and see what kind of flavors you get. And I'm thinking like a really rich apple, like a wine sap or a pink lady or something like that, that's got a lot of flavor. I would,
crab apple.
Crab apple would be a possibility. An Anjou pear or a good pear would be another possibility. A Chipotle pear would be, Chipotle Perry would be another good one. And, I see a lot of people, Brad's done amazing things with his cherry Chipotle. It's really good. It's one of my favorite meads. And, it's just, Chipotle is a great backstop flavor that, emerges well with some things.
You get that, like a little bit of heat, a little bit of smokiness.
Yeah, maybe even throw just a touch of spice in there, maybe a touch of cinnamon or nutmeg or something, along with that smoky flavor, and then maybe oak it just a touch. You'd have a seriously complex mead that would be unlike anything else on the market.
Great idea.
This is what I sit around thinking about all day long, right?
There's going to be about,
You just call it Vicky's Mead, okay?
They'll be all over the country.
Yeah. And just call it Vicky's Mead, inspired by gotmead.com. On the back label.
We'll just
really
start calling it a
letters.
row.
Yeah, But yeah, I love the Chipotle flavor. I'm not a big super hot food fan. I mean, I like spicy food, but I don't like hot food. So for me, it's always been a good spicy flavor. So I'm a big fan of like the less spicy curries. Not the ones that burn your face off, but the ones that just add lots of flavor. And so the Chipotle in the pepper family, well, it's not really a pepper in and of itself. It's a smoked jalapeno. But the Chipotle style pepper has got to me the best of both worlds, because you get that pepper thing going on, but it's not melt your face off. I mean, I've had ghost pepper meads, and they're like really good expressions, and they melt my face off, and I can't drink them because they're too much for me, and probably a lot of people.
That's where balance comes into play. If it's not.
These are balanced. I mean, they're well expressed.
Yeah.
The problem is they're ghost peppers. I mean, there's really no, you can't really take the face melting out of the ghost pepper. It just doesn't work. But the Chipotle is a very mild one. That's the problem, or that's the benefit of that Chipotle thing, is that it is so very mellow. It's it's all rounded edges. It's not so sharp that it cuts you up.
So we're talking a carbonated sesame.
Right? Carbonated would be good. Oh my God! That's perfect. All right, now see, we've got a thing going on now. Daniel just popped up with roasted chocolate habaneros are super aromatic, like super. He's going to be making a batch in 2 months with some toasted apples. So roasted chocolate habanero with toasted apples.
I didn't know there was a chocolate habanero.
Apparently. Well, we don't. Yeah, but come on. Northern Michigan isn't exactly pepper country. Yeah, Daniel. He says thank you. But
idea.
Roast. Pepper country doesn't exactly happen in northwestern Michigan, but I mean, the fun thing is and I've always been fascinated by this in the capsicumel, because capsicumels are right now, you would ask me at the beginning of the show, what are the trends? Capsicumels are one of the fastest growing trends in the mead market right now. Okay, Daniel, stop. He says you can use Trinidad perfume peppers. They're aromatic and no heat. So there's a problem. You're evil, Daniel.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah. He says no problem. But
what are they called? Trinidad
perfume peppers. Yeah.
Peppers.
Yeah. Write it down. AJ is. I know.
Now we got the pepper guy. Daniel's a pepper guy.
Daniel is a pepper guy. Yeah, there's a lot of pepperheads out there. That is the fastest growing. I think that and session meads are like that in a bag of chips right now. Everybody's doing it, but capsicumels everybody's doing a capsicumel. And there's ones ranging from, as rounded as Brad's Cherry Chipotle, all the way up to there's a couple, 3 ghost pepper ones. I know Mike Fall did a short run of his Malia with ghost peppers in it, and it was stunning. It was terribly hot, but if you're a pepperhead, it was divine. So hot for me, not so much for somebody who likes that kind of thing. And but it was very well expressed. And then Mike Fairbrother at Moonlight, he did ghost pepper mead as well, and I forget the name on it, but he did one that was a full run. Mike Falls at Rabbit's Foot was a test run. So, but there's just everything in between too. They're all over the place. But nobody's done one with apple that I'm aware of. Just saying.
Well, it's apple season.
Yeah, yeah. That's because I'm hoping to get a bottle of it when I come home next summer.
I do have a tank of some Cider that's just sitting.
Well, there you go.
Ready to do something with.
Throw some Chipotles in there, see what happens. It could be good. I'd pull a gallon off, put some peppers in it, and stick it in the fridge. See what happens with it.
You mentioned the roasted pepper, and we do a cider with some maple syrup too, beside the honey, and we use a darker maple syrup. As most people probably know this, but the darker syrups generally, as the season progresses in maple syrup, the sap gets less sugar, so it's a lower concentration of sugar, so you have to boil it longer, and it gets darker. So you get more of that burnt sugar flavor. So that pairs really good in cider. So I'm thinking the smoke, the roasted Chipotle could be like friggin' awesome.
Oh yeah,
it sounds good.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go down to the nearest grocery store with a decent Hispanic section and get you some Chipotles and see what you can do.
Well, I'll report back to you.
Please do. I'm curious myself. I want to see what happens with it. I've been contemplating the idea of a Chipotle cider for a while, and just kind of afraid to tackle it. And not too sure how it would go. But I think that would be an excellent thing. And there's so many amazing apple varieties. I went to a farmer's market out here in Washington with my daughter and her husband a couple weeks ago, and they had. I've never seen. I mean, I grew up in apple country, mind you. Northwestern Michigan, apples are everywhere. I've never seen so many dang apple. Oh my God! I mean, it was just I was like in apple heaven. It was like I want one of these, one of these, one of these, and one of these. I told them they have to take me back so I can buy one of everything, because there's ones I've never heard of half the varieties. So I was just like woohoo!
Well, there's a lot of club apples coming up. The farmers. They're like boutique apples, and like the Honeycrisp was hot it's still hot.
See, I like Honeycrisp. They're awesome apples. They're yummy.
They're
Pink Lady's another one I really like.
I think that's one of the new boutique apples.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's people are starting to plant cider apples again, specifically for cider.
Yeah, definitely happening over here a lot. And pink ladies in Australia are very commonplace, have been for many years. So.
Oh, okay. I wonder if they brought that over from Australia then, and they just picked up speed here after somebody said, hey, they've got these there.
Yeah, I don't know.
They just sort of popped out of nowhere here, and it was like all of a sudden you could find them almost as easily as you could find galas and Romes, which are pretty standard, at least where I am. Well, where I'm usually.
Right.
Here, not so much. Romes are kind of rare on this side of the country. I'm in Washington now, so at least till the end of the year.
My personal favorite, I think,
even
is
better
a fresh
apples
Portland.
than we have.
What's that, Hamish?
New Zealand's got even better apples than we have.
Oh, I'll bet.
Yeah. Our apple industry would just about collapse if the New Zealanders were allowed to import freely.
Oh, jeez. What about you, AJ? You got a lot of apples up there?
Yeah, actually, I mean, within walking distance from my condo door, I got about 5 or 10 apple trees that I regularly can make 15 or 20 gallons of apple cider with in a year. And they range from red to yellow and all different sizes. And turns out I discovered this year the size sort of depends on the moisture level, because the one that makes great big fat red eating apples made little tiny crab apples this year. But we also grow actual honest to God crab apples here too, and they have a really distinctive flavor that I really like. And there's someone around here who's actually started growing Cox's Orange Pippins, which are a fantastic little apple. They keep really well. They smell like an apple blossom, and when they're ripe, you shake them and the seeds rattle.
Oh my gosh. That sounds like a fun apple. I mean, the way apple blossoms smell, my God, to have an apple that tastes like an apple blossom smells? Holy God.
Well, the apple itself smells like that before you bite into it. I mean, it tastes like an apple. It's a pleasant apple to eat, but the nice thing with them is they stay really crisp. I got a box and kept them in the garage until December one year, and they age very similar to a Honeycrisp. The worst that happens with them is they get a little bit wrinkly, but they retain their crispness. Okay. As opposed to my other favorite, which is a Cortland.
I like
a fresh off the tree Cortland